Marcus, I know you and I have had our fair share of, travels with our performing
Sure.
and touring with the cruise ship and on land. Is there one performance or venue that really sticks out in your mind that you really enjoyed, or it was special in some way to you?
You know what? I don't know if there's like a specific venue, but I can say that probably like the most enjoyable like performance experience that I had was performing on the ship. Especially like the intro to the guests coming on. There was always like that welcome show, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the top of the cruise.
Yeah. And like the audience, there's not a lot of people. There's probably like 1,000 or so like people in the audience, but like the energy that they like came with and like how excited they were to like start their cruise.
Yeah, they're just starting their vacation. And everyone's excited.
Yeah. So like our band like opened it up, and I remember we opened with like the theme from Rocky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was like
was that like brought the cruise director out? That was like his song?
Yeah. Well, no. The cruise director always had their separate track, but that was what brought us out. Like we opened with that, and the curtains open, and it was just the band.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember I had a little saxophone solo in there, and that was like, It was just a lot of energy. It was a lot of excitement. That's probably like the most memorable one for me. What about you?
I mean, I definitely have a couple of the shows I did, while performing on the ships that stand out for me. The two that I was, or three actually, that I've been a part of, that were like brand new shows, that I got to, be there from day one, part of the original cast, building the show, creating it. Those ones definitely, are near and dear to me looking back. But I think my favorite time I ever kind of performed, I mean, this was back when I was competing, skating. I came back after I'd been in Germany for 6 years. I got to do the World Championships in 2013 back in Canada.
Nice.
Which is where I'm from, and I'd only seen my family really maybe like 3-4 times in those 6 years while I was away training and things, and that was the first time I got to come back. My whole family got to come see me skate. Obviously it was a big home crowd back in Canada, so that one was very special to me.
Nice. Well, yeah, performing, recording, songwriting. Our next guest is like killing it in all of those avenues.
I think if you can stay committed to doing music, something like music professionally, you end up having to learn these other skills because you're independent.
Our guest today is a singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and producer, and her latest album, Cognizance, is up for Grammy consideration. Let's give a warm Indie LA welcome to Brenda Carsey. Brenda, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
So we kind of want to hear about where you started and how music was a big part of your life, like growing up. How'd you get started exactly?
I feel like I just was always really drawn to at least singing, if nothing else. I did singing forever and ever and ever, whether it be I was like a 2-year-old, and then more literally in choir when I was old enough to do that. And then I'm old enough that we still had music programming in our public schools back then. So no,
Yeah.
So there was choir, band, and everything in every school I ever went to: elementary school, middle school, high school, and all that. And then when I was 7.5 or 8 or something like that, my mom gave me her clarinet. And I started doing marching band and wind ensemble and all that cute stuff, and learned how to read sheet music from that. And then I ended up switching back to choir for 8th grade through all of college, basically for however long that is, 9 years straight.
Okay.
And did tons of choir.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's just something I've always loved to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And you said like when you were introduced to band, like did you have a choice between band, choir, and orchestra?
I mean, at my school, at the elementary school I went to, if you were playing an instrument, you did everything. So I did wind ensemble and marching band and all this stuff. It was like a tiny little farm town at that point in time. So you just did all the things. There's nothing else to do.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys have to play the recorder in
Yeah,
the U.S.? Was that
yeah.
a thing here?
Yeah, the recorder.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I never had to do
Fourth
that.
grade.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It was like mandatory instrument for us for
Oh, yeah.
a couple of years. Yeah.
Oh, I was a killer recorder
That's
player.
amazing.
Mm.
Well, because they have like general music education. So for general ed, that was it. But I was in like actually like some kind of an ensemble since I was 8. So that
Okay.
was 3rd grade. So maybe I didn't have to because of that.
You surpassed it.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember like the selection process. Like they just had like a big room. They had a bunch of instruments, like the
Right.
cellos, the wood,
Oh, right.
the woodwind instruments, like,
Yeah.
and they kind of just had you like gravitate and see like where you fit. And
Totally.
I feel like the teachers kind of had like a plan though for you. Like they would like lean and, oh, like your fingers are kind of long, you should do this, or you know, you're this size kid, you should hold the trumpet, or so.
Totally.
Yeah, they were kind of like trying to plan it
Right.
out. But I got lucky. I had a saxophone like from my aunt, and my mom really pushed for me to play saxophone first, because naturally like you play like the clarinet because it's lighter. And yeah, she really pushed for me to like play the saxophone, and I ended up playing sax. A few other kids heard that like, oh, this kid's playing the saxophone, I want my kid to play. So we had like 6 or 7 like
Nice.
starting saxophonists in like the 6th grade
That's
at my
cool.
school. Yeah.
It's like the same thing. My mom played clarinet when she was little.
Mm-hmm.
And so the clarinet ended up playing wasn't one of the like school plastic ones. I was very blessed that she still had hers in pretty good. We had to get it, buffed up and
Yeah,
cleaned out,
touched
but
up.
it's a wood, an actual like wood instrument, mahogany, and has like silver, like all the buttons and everything tarnished, like they're real, I think silver or metal or something. I don't know if they're silver. You guys don't help me with that, but it tarnishes whatever it is.
Mhm.
So
So it's
what
really pretty.
what made
Yeah.
you want to switch over to choir then?
I loved singing so much. I did choir first, and then I did all the band stuff, and then we
Gotcha.
moved. The truth is that I was first chair in the town I was living on with clarinet, and then we moved right in the middle of 7th grade. And the new place that we moved to, I was like, not anybody anymore, or talented,
So
or cool,
starting over again.
yeah, or as good
Mhm.
as anybody, and like you can't come in hot being like first chair and all that, like the hidden political nature of being in a band
Of
or an
7th grade
orchestra
to-
of 7th
Sure.
grade, absolutely. And I just didn't connect with the band, the conductor at the time, and so I switched back as a beautiful teenager. I
Okay.
just was like, I want to feel loved and free and supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. Like as a kid, like you kind of like gravitate towards like the mentors that you like.
Mhm.
Like if you have a relationship with them, like that's kind of like what you
Mhm.
go for.
No regrets,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
I also got braces shortly thereafter, so clarinet wouldn't have been possible.
Ah.
Anyway. I was a late in life braces person.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it wouldn't have worked out.
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did either of your parents sing as well?
My birth father was in choir. My mom was in choir. And my
Okay.
mom, for like a very short period of time, went to college to become a music teacher, and then ended up being like, never mind, I don't want to do that, and became a radiologist instead.
Okay.
But
180.
there's music on both sides, and just in life,
Mhm.
it's there. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of things were you listening to when you were growing up?
Oh gosh, probably nothing. It's like the radio.
Yeah.
I still to this day, I love the radio. I like putting on the radio and not knowing what it is or what's going to happen or what I'm going to listen to. Like
Mhm.
when I go on road trips, I like sifting through the static to find the gold where you're like, yes, something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, when I was little, I mean, I really love, like, it probably started with hip hop and R&B and funk. I am from Southern California, so that's pretty much was the radio for like a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the rock thing, I didn't really get into rock and roll that much, except for like really mainstream stuff until maybe like late high school and then early college. Before that, it was mostly, yeah, R&B, pop, hip hop, funk, stuff like that, disco, whatever.
Disco.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have like any particular like artists like from those genres that you like gravitate towards more?
No, and I know I annoy everyone with this question. I absolutely fucking hate. Can I cuss on this show?
Sure.
Sorry.
Go for
Absolutely fucking hate the favorites game. I'm an adult
Mm.
person. I love everything. And that really is frustrating to some people, but I don't understand. Like, I'm literally obsessed with everything, and I love music so much. And I feel like if you listen to my music, you'll be like, that is very apparent, because
Okay.
there's a lot of influence in there, and there isn't any one that's more important than anyone else to me. But I like forcibly make myself answer these questions for most people's shows. but I'm like, you guys feel
we
real.
won't
You
force
feel
it.
real.
We won't
I
force
know.
it.
So I'm just like, there's so many people. There's like hundreds of people I could list. Hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember even being at your show at Hotel Cafe for the BMI. I forget the title of the
It's like, I don't being acoustic something.
acoustic session or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. But I mean, you were playing piano as well, and I felt like every song you played was like very different. Vastly different than the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
So, tell us a little bit about your experience with like performing. Was that something that you had to, like, a skill that you had to learn? Like, did you learn it early on? Did it kind of develop like as you like learned these other instruments?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's the nature nurture thing. I think that just razzle dazzling or whatever. Like, then yeah, I was born with that, and there's far too many photos of me being that person who was like, "Mommy, look at me," and let me perform. And I'd write little skits and I'd write little songs.
Oh, cute.
I've been doing that forever. So I think some of that is that. But in regards to being a professional or not like being so obvious if you make a mistake, and like just all those like acknowledged things of like no one knows that you made a mistake, and like carrying on, or like not caring and just laughing it off, and being like loose and flexible on stage, and like adapting with that very dynamic environment, I think is definitely just from experience. And I definitely think the whole 10,000 hours thing is true.
Yeah.
I live by that. Absolutely. I'm like, you have to just do it all the time, constantly, and then you'll be able to have like enough gathered information and knowledge at that point to, and react to all the unknowns that happens in all these environments, from people to like hollering, to like electrical issues, to like lighting stuff, to like not being able to hear yourself, to just everything,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we've definitely had some technical issues setting up this week too ourselves.
Yeah, I think so, both then. But I'm definitely think, I mean, this, we might as well talk about this. So something that I hated, because I wonder if this will help anyone who identifies as an artist, and not like just a musician. I identify as both. Like, I am a musician's musician. Like, I care about musicianship. I care about quality of playing. I care about tight playing, and like, active listening, and like adjusting your volume like to best suit the ensemble, and all those things are really important to me. But I would say that something I resisted for almost my entire career was doing cover gigs. I was like, that's selling out, man. I'm never doing wedding band stuff ever. It's lame. And I started doing it in 2018, literally one gig. Shout out to Matthew Tucciarone, who got me this gig. And I was like, no, I don't do that. And he was like, you should do it. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. And I did it twice a month for 2 years up until the shutdown. And that was the only cover gig I had. And then after the shutdown, I'm a full-time musician now. That's all I'm doing, is doing that. And the quantity of improvement I've seen in myself as a musician and as like a pianist and as a vocalist and everything, and just having more control, I can absolutely attribute to doing that.
Yeah.
And that kind of selling out is not really that much of a sellout that I thought it was when I was younger, What
changed in your mind? Do you think was it just kind of an ego thing, or was it?
I think, no, because I come from, this is so, sorry, I'm about to catch myself. This is going to sound ridiculous. I come from the streets. So like my come up in music in regards to like art, not in regards to scholastic or something like that, but just in regards to art, has been very punk rock, very street, very DIY, very grassroots and all that. So it just was part of the culture of the music environment and scene that I was a part of in regards to being different bands and stuff. It's just, wedding band stuff is like selling out because it's not art.
Okay. Yep.
It's performative, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're being hired to be what they want you to be, not to like be what you're bringing. You know what I mean? But I think it's different now. It's like, it's acting, right? It's acting like with music, and
it's
then
a whole package,
and creating a vibe. You're like, I'm like the DJ and I'm playing all your favorite selects, but I actually can physically play it with my body instead of playing it on the track, So I'm like, I'm just like a DJ.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's something that because DJing is like a skill that I've like recently picked up, and specifically being like a wedding DJ, like you're not always going to play the music that you enjoy, but there's like something to be learned from that. Like what a majority of people are like leaning towards, like when it comes to like dancing or like being in like a group setting, like what people are singing along to. I think it kind of helps like my musical ear, and like when I want to like create things, like if I want to do like a song that everybody would dance to and like sing to on a dance floor, like I've heard enough of those. And so yeah, I mean it just kind of like helps, I think, like overall, like with my ear, and like for anything, for DJing, for like songwriting, like producing. So yeah, I guess like going back to like the cover songs, it kind of reminded me, when I was in school, we would have to play along like to other saxophonists, just note for note, like expression for expression, and that helped us develop our own sound, like mimicking these other players. And so like I wonder if you had like a similar like experience like doing the cover songs. Like did you ever try to perform a song the way that the original singer sang it, or do you kind of always like put your own thing on it?
I'm really lucky in that I get to put my own thing on it. Most of the gigs I play, people entrust me to do whatever. I just show up. And I was going to say too, I think, so another one of my jobs is I'm a professional event curator. You could say producer, curator, whatever. So I wonder if that plays into it just as a skill, that I just observe what's happening and what vibes are happening. And then like on the fly, just pick songs, or like, you know what I mean? Try to ride the vibes that are happening. So I haven't had to, well, there's been a couple like more like licensing-y stuff, or like hired stuff where I'll like exactly do something. But normally for those cover gigs, no, I'm just flying.
Okay.
Yeah. Experimenting.
Yeah.
Changing
that's fun.
keys sometimes. Like that's where I'm at right now. Like certain songs I've been playing a lot, and now I'm just changing the keys like on the fly on myself, not even practicing it, just going like boop, boop. Like, I mean, I play keyboard, easy transpose is easier, but just to like give my brain like, you know, an exercise, or my voice just like on the fly to make those transpositions in the moment. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, you said you do a lot of event curating.
Yeah.
So going back to that, what do you look for when you're putting together a show? Are you mostly trying to work with people you've worked with before and that you enjoy playing with? Or do you have like a set style or vibe you're trying to create when you put together a show?
No, I mean, yes and no. Definitely people who I've met in real life, for the most part. There's probably maybe 10% of the people I work with are people who solicit me, because I'm not trying to be big. I'm not trying to be like a big event curator, or like become, you know, EDC or FYF or like Coachella. I'm not trying to grow my brand and become some big thing. I like just doing the local advocacy and like offering space and uplift for local artists and musicians, because that's my shit. It's my most favorite thing. So normally it's like I have to know you, and specifically I've seen you play, because like you could send me a million videos and I'm like, but how are you live?
Yeah.
How are you like in real life? Because I'm a real life human being and I care about that more than the social sphere. So yeah, so if I've seen you and I like you and you're a good person and you make good music and you got a good voice and all that stuff, then there's like 100 of them or more, you know what I mean? In the city, there's hundreds of them. So it's amazing. One of the reasons I love living here. And then genre wise, yeah, just creating like a nice little arc, a little energy arc throughout the event.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we all leave like feeling real good by the end.
I'm just trying to do my thing. I'm just trying to do my thing. Let the spirit move me how it wants to. I'm just trying to do my thing with my own damn thing with you.
I want to talk about your album and what that story tells and kind of your process for writing songs.
Do you have can you narrow that down?
Loaded.
I know. I was like,
Let's
my
talk
brain
about
fried out for a second.
let's talk about the songwriting process. Like, do you have a ritual?
I do not have a ritual. I'm a very don't push it, don't rush it, don't force it writer. So when it happens, and I just let it ride.
Sure. Okay.
How long was the writing process then for this album for you?
I never write like albums where I'm like, I'm writing an album. I just write songs, and it's a chapter of life, and you look back on it and you're like, holy crap, I clearly was in a phase because these are all related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just alive. And I think as a songwriter, you're just really processing and reflecting reality as you know it or as you observe it, or through stories you hear from people you care about and otherwise. But yeah, I think the oldest song on the album I wrote in 2018.
Okay.
And then the original, just so that people are like, whoa, that's like 1,000 years ago. So when I started writing newer songs, like we were performing an album that I had released in 2017, right? So you just start writing while you're still performing something you just released. That's the most silly thing about being a performing artist.
It never stops.
Because you're like, I just released this thing, but you're like, but you have to write the next thing, right? So I was writing while we were pushing and performing an album that was new at that period of time. And then by the end of 2019, I had like pretty much the entire album except for maybe one song, like the whole album. So I wrote it all in over 2 years, I guess. There was 18 songs, and we picked 13 for the record. So out of those 18, yeah, and then sorry, my brain is like bing, 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 trying to sort through all the questions. But and then at the end of 2019, I was ready to go in to record the album at that point. Like our original slated time was the top of 2020, which you were there.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 years of writing, and then I was going to go and do the next album and then like release it. You know what I mean? So everything got pushed back 2 years. Yeah.
What did you do?
So it feels like a long time ago.
During
now.
that shutdown, did you do a lot to continue with your music, or were you just kind of on hold?
I ended up doing, I hosted for 36 weeks straight an online once a week show called Circle Up,
nice.
Which was a songwriter round, kind of like Brady Bunch squares,
Oh,
you know?
cool.
And then whoever was performing would like take up the whole square and then would go back to the 4 square, etc. So we would just kind of go around and do a little song thing, like how you met me.
Yep.
We were doing a little songwriter round.
Yep.
So I did that for almost a year. And then I recorded the album when we were allowed to in top of 2021. I guess spring 2021, not the top, but so that, and then just like a lot of hiking, a lot of hikes,
Okay.
a lot of like drawing, a lot of crying, a lot of writing poetry, not songs. I was too mad. I was way too mad to like actually write a song. I was just like, it was just like more jibber jabbery, a lot more words. I think songs, the most beautiful things about songs is it's either prose or poetry, but it's even more condensed, you know? So you pack so much meaning in it. I think that's why it influences us so much as it does, music in general and songwriting specifically, because it has so much meaning in like a very short, amount of time.
Yeah.
Few words. Okay. I hope that, did we tangent?
No,
I don't even remember
I did take us a little bit on a tangent. I'm not gonna lie.
You're right on it.
We can get back to Marcus's question. Yeah.
Like where are we?
Well, we were talking about
cognizance.
Yeah. The concept for that.
Okay. So there you go. Marcus, you guys, he's saving lives right now. So 2018, 2019, we were writing. And at that point in time, I think the album before that was called Solitary Refinement. And it was aptly named because it was very personal, at least my opinion of it. It's not that everyone can't relate to it, right? But the songs I wrote from a very like first person perspective about all the stuff I was going through as a person and an artist. And then Cognizance, I just had grown so much over the course of those 4 years or however much it was between writing that album to writing the next album, that everything became more externalized. I guess that aging probably does that too.
Sure.
You're like
that wisdom.
Yeah, like you're less, I mean, maybe not for everybody. For me, I just like participating in the world more began to matter to me more, participating in community more, and like bearing witness to other people's experiences and not being so self-focused. I mean, it's focused on self, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Became just part of what mattered to me more. And I think it just showed in the writing. So a lot of cognizance, and why I named it that, it was just like an awareness of everything going on around me, right? Or like a conscious reflection, a willingness to like grow, like a willingness to have awareness and like be honest and conversational about all these things. So yeah, more of an external album.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit part of what this project was for us as well. You know, we're both kind of focused on our paths, me more in film, Marcus in, you know, his audio journey and DJing and things. But we wanted to do something together that was also kind of, you know, incorporating a little bit of community in Los Angeles and, you know, being a part of everyone else's stories and journeys. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's real cute.
Well, let's talk about touring.
Okay.
That's something that you've experienced, and we just want to hear about like what that was like for you.
It's been fun. I'm so bummed. I really wanted to tour this year. I wanted to do a national tour for Cognizance, but it just fiscally, it just was not possible for me.
Oh, okay.
And also, not just, I mean, financially is probably the biggest reason, let's just be real, but also like emotionally, like with me being a full-time musician now, it's just like I'm booking all my other work gigs.
You're busy.
Yeah, it's just by the time you get down to it, you're like, I know how much goes into independently booking a tour. And I was like, I can't do it. I'm too fucking tired. So it didn't end up happening this year. But yeah, I've been very blessed to go on, like as like a band, I've only done 2 tours for myself. But I've gone on tour with 2 other bands, maybe like 7 times or 8 times total, mostly up and down, like going from here to Seattle and back a bunch. The one that I did by myself, like all the way up to Seattle and then like Idaho and Nevada. And you just imagine that whole big of a loop. Then like I've done like Nashville and like New York, or I'll just like kind of fly and hire people when I get there. Because again, it's cheaper. And there's talented people everywhere.
Yeah.
You could support everybody.
Okay.
And then I was really blessed in 2016 to go to Germany with a band that I used to be in called Feral Kizzy. And we just toured there for 2 weeks, which was awesome.
Where did you go in Germany? I used to
So
live
many
in
places.
Berlin.
Oh, really? Okay. We played in Berlin.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to pronounce all the places we went to.
No,
but
that's fine.
but we did go to Heidelberg.
Okay.
We did go to Hamburg. We went to Berlin. We went to, pardon my pronunciation, anybody out there, but we went to like Karlsruhe, I'm gonna say like a white girl. And then we went to some places that I legit will never be able to pronounce for you.
Cool.
Like very, very long. And then I've been to like Tijuana and like, you know, yeah, it's a good time.
Awesome.
I'm not sure what you wanted to know. That was just me listing off stuff that
Well, yeah.
I had no information that was helpful at all.
No, all good. Yeah, I kind of like that question was going to lead into touring versus playing locally. So, you know, which one of those would you rather like prefer, or like what's some like good things about one, something that you don't like about the other?
I think if I'm going to be bold as to say that I think any artist who wants to be a performing artist and recording artist would love to just be on tour. If they're not people who are writing for Sync, like I think they like staying local for sure. Even if they make it an artist project that's successful in Sync, like a lot of them are like, I never want to leave ever. But for me, if someone else could help and we're at a booking agent and, you know, the funds to help assist that success, I would absolutely be gone at least 6 months of the year without even thinking about it. Let's go. I love adventure. I love traveling. I love change and unknowns and all of it.
Free spirit.
Yeah, I would love to do that all the time. But both, you know, both great. But it's way more fun doing like a home show when you leave.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you're like, I'm back. And everyone's like, yeah.
Instead of, I never left.
Yeah, I never left. I'm just here all the time. Yeah. I think if you're in some place like LA, my experience, but this is coming from the perspective of being a solo artist and a songwriter. I imagine it's different as a band, is that you kind of do more, because if you want to like keep playing and keep your chops up, you don't want to not play, but you end up doing more like acoustic things or songwriter things like Where I Met You, or little songwriter rounds or showcases or open mics or things that are just a little smaller, so that when you do have an actual big show or a full band show or a moment that's something to celebrate, like an album release or whatever, that you can rally the troops to like show up for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the city is beautifully saturated with a lot of beautiful events and nightlife and music and stuff. So you don't want to over ask.
Sure.
all the time.
Sure.
Do you like that bigger setting more than like the intimate acoustic style?
Ooh, I primarily do the acoustic thing. I like both. What I like about the acoustic thing is just the freedom to change my own music even in the moment. So if I like feel like playing way slower
Mm-hmm.
or pausing randomly or like doing an extra little like yeah, no, like a little thing, there's just a lot of freedom with that. And also there's more minute expressiveness you can do with your voice because it's quiet. You can hear everything. But I love playing with a band. Oh, I love being loud. I love being powerful. And I like having my music fully and actually realized. When I write it, I hear a band. And even when I play it alone, I hear the band.
Okay.
You know, even if no one else does.
Yeah.
So it is the band. If
Okay.
I could afford it.
You go with the band.
12 piece band every time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, jumping back to your album then, are you performing with the band or is it mostly you doing the instrumental?
Yeah, no, it's the parts that I played were just the songwriting components that I play in real life. So it's all the vocals, the leads and the harmonies, piano and guitar. And then like one of the songs, there's Hammond organ that I'm playing. But it's like key related, you know what I mean? Like Rhodes, anything that's keys related is me, and the acoustic guitar is me. But everything else, no, absolutely not. Leave it to the professionals.
All right.
And it's just like I'm really, really, really lucky and blessed. And I know it's because of the shutdown that I got all of my first choice people to play on this album. And had it been business as usual, everyone would have absolutely been gone on tour. So I am so grateful that I have relationships with them as friends. So it's not that they wouldn't have been down. They would have been gone for sure. So it's just the lineup of musicians on this album is insane. I think they're the best people in the city. I really do. So if even if you're like, I hate Brenda, like listen to it for for them because everything's so good.
So yeah, that time in the pandemic played to your interest. Like
I think so. Yeah. It was rough. It was really rough, but a blessing, I guess, just to be present. And also it was the first time in my entire career that I got to do what I'll call like a Beatles-esque rock and roll thing where I just had an entire studio for 10 days. Like I didn't do like the Weekend Warrior tracking where I was like busy all week and then we would record whenever we all had time and like which a lot of us do and I've done before. This is the first time in my whole life out of every album we recorded the whole album in 10 days. Like every single thing. And I didn't have to like pack up gear. We could just like it was just ours. It was great. It was so fun. What a blessing.
Way less stressful.
Just fun too
Yeah.
to like just be completely present in the process, I suppose, of making, you know?
Well, writing for Sync and being a studio recording artist and being a singer-songwriter, performing live, these are all like a lot of hats to wear for sure.
So many hats.
And there's a lot of people who just do like one of these things. I guess I want to hear about, did you always see yourself like collecting all of these, or how did you start picking up these skills like as your career developed?
Survival. That's it.
Out of necessity.
It's totally out of necessity and the climate of the modern era and also living in a metropolitan and also choosing to participate in an industry that's very tumultuous and ever changing and political and a whole slew of things. I think if you can, I'm about to like make myself sound real old. I'm not like that old, you guys, but I am old. I think if you can stay committed to doing music, something like music professionally for a long time, and not get like picked up, right? Or like get a deal or sign or like all these things that you like dream of or hope of or are told that you're supposed to have, you end up having to learn these other skills because you're independent, right? You have to assist yourself. And talking about hats, dude, I'm like, all of my photography, I do all the costuming. I own MUA, hair, like the design, like the lighting, the concept, like everything, like music videos. I edit all of my own music and live videos. I don't pay for editing. So that's another weird thing. I'm actually really good at it if you need help.
That's incredible.
I have a weird brain apparently for editing video. Yeah. So it's just like from doing it so long, I think it's just really that. It's just not giving up doing it and being like, well, no one else is going to do it for me. So I have to figure this out because I want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to create your brand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But not even like, you're right. Yes. And fuck that word.
All right.
Fuck that word brand.
Talk about it.
It's
Tell us
just
how you really feel.
it's like, for example, like a music video, right? So I grew up in a very music video generation. I don't think they mean as much to people now, even though they're fun and like it's still awesome to see people's like visual creations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like saying like
do
music
they,
videos.
Do they
were
even do like the
supreme.
top 10 like weekly
No.
videos or anything like that?
I don't know.
anymore?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think so.
Like
Maybe
in
someone
Canada
does.
it was like much more music,
I'm out of it,
or like
man. I haven't-
MTV.
I imagine
know.
that there's some like YouTube channel that does it now or something, right?
We'd
There's
like
got to be a
we'd like come
channel.
home after school and
Yeah.
like turn it on, and it's like
Yeah.
that half hour where they
That's all that it was.
Yeah.
But so an example would be like, well, I want to make a music video because it's something that you're supposed to have that, right? But I'm like, I don't have like $500,000 to go into music video like Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson did.
Mm-hmm.
I have like $2,000, so let's go. So we're like, okay, so let's design our own costume. Let's like get that hookup from the friends. Let's like learn how to do editing. Let's like do it. Like you just learn all this stuff. It's not even because of brand. It's just because you're compelled to do it.
Mhm.
It's like the calling and the compulsion and the desire to do something without having access to funds or privilege or people or whatever to like help you do it. And for me, I'm like, I'm not waiting around for people to help me. Like, let's just go,
Right.
you know?
I think when you have that passion and desire too, you don't need a huge budget to create something that's
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It'd be cool though.
it'd be cool. It'd be cool.
It'd be cool though.
Well, let's talk about what you're working on right now.
I am working on praying that this album, which is Cognizance, by the way. Did we say that? We did, right?
A little bit.
I'm working on Cognizance getting a Grammy. I'm not, so my album just came out in 2023 this year. And like, I'm traditional. I'm like, I'm pushing this album for 2 years. I'm not trying to like waste all the money that I just spent on this thing. You know what I mean? So it's just pushing it, playing it, talking about it, promoting it. And then this is my very first just thing that I have submitted for, consideration at that level of professionalism, if we want to call it that. So I don't know. I'm just like, maybe it's possible. And if it is possible, then like, obviously that would lead to a slew of unforeseen path, forks.
Sure,
so
sure.
it's just staying open at the moment.
Yeah.
But if what you're asking me is, do I have like more songs? I do.
Okay.
The next album's already completely written.
Is it?
Awesome.
No one will ever hear it though. You can't hear it yet. You gotta listen to Cognizance for
All
at
right.
least till next May, at least.
And I just want to go back a little bit. The 12-piece band. What instrumentation did you have in your band? Your ideal.
So I mean, it would probably depend on the album, but for this specific album and phase, it was drum, bass, obvi, and then electric guitar, a small string section. I normally just do 2 violoncello, and then I had a horn section that was trumpet, trombone, and sax, and then 2 backing vocalists, like a soprano and an alto, and then me on piano or guitar, depending on the song.
I just had to make sure saxophone was in the mix.
It was in the mix.
All
It
right.
was.
You were
in the
looking for your
mix.
spot.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And your album, Cognizance, how are you releasing it? Is it just going to be on like the music platforms, like Spotify, Apple Music?
Yeah, it's on every single thing ever, every website ever. And then I made CDs because I had to. It just is a thing. They exist in case anybody wants them.
Yeah.
And then the thing that I'm the most excited about is this is the very first album that I ever pressed to vinyl. It's just something that I wanted to do my entire life. I love like 60s, 70s, like retro music. And my boyfriend and I, we have like a small record collection and stuff ourselves. So it's just something I always wanted to do. And I was like, this is the album for sure. So it's a double LP. It's mega. And then the side D has a 14-minute in-studio jam with like all these session players I was telling you about on one of my songs, like a very long jam of one of my songs that isn't ever going to be released anywhere. It's only on the vinyl.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just to give people a treat who
That's
want to
really cool.
invest.
Yeah.
Cool. And you were involved in creating like the cover art and all those things as
Oh,
well.
yeah. Oh my gosh. But shout out to Morgan Demeters, who took all the photos for the Cognizance record. The concepts are, I mean, him like lighting, obviously, like all the things, but the color I knew had to be purple. I was like, this is a purple album. That fabric I bought, like the posture, the makeup, I had that exact vision in my head for 3 years.
Okay.
So obnoxious. So it was great to bring it to life.
Yeah. Cool. And where can people go to buy the album? or the vinyl?
I would say Bandcamp is probably every indie artist's prayer and wish that you go there first. You can get my vinyl, you can get the CD, you can get a lyric and photography book, like t-shirts, like my entire discography of like past albums. You can get digital albums, like all that stuff is there. So I would say there first and foremost. If you're like, I don't even want them to get 8% of your money, dude, I'll just like Venmo you, then I'm totally down with that too. For some people, like people trip out about that, which I don't get. Like they need like the authority of some third party website to
make
give them
feel secure.
Yeah, to give them security and confidence in like their purchase. But I'm like, you could literally just hit up every musician you know and be like, yo, like let me send you $10 and like email me that album. And that's like it. Or mail me the vinyl. Like just hit us up directly. Like we're humans. Unless you're like at Beyonce levels, like where you know, I can't physically manage all the inbox stuff. Like I can manage it now. You're talking to me literally. So just hit me up.
Cool.
Awesome.
So Brenda, where can everybody find you online? Your socials, your website?
You can find me at Brenda Carsey Art on every social media platform ever, except for X or whatever the heck it's called. Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Except for that. I'm not
it.
on that. But everything else is at Brenda Carsey Art, BrendaCarseyArt.com, and streaming platforms just Brenda Carsey.
Well, Brenda, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for
it's
having
been a
me.
pleasure.
It's so fun.